my name's Jen, and for this week's SSS at home, we're doing chili salt squid. To accompany the squid, we're going to do a quick Asian pickle, and we're going to stir fry some gailan with some oyster sauce. So for this week, the first thing you have to get onto is making the pickle, okay? Because it needs at least 30 minutes to sort of rest and sit and absorb all those flavors. So for the pickle, simply some caster sugar, a little salt, and some coconut vinegar. So we need to dissolve this sugar and salt in the vinegar. And this is what you look for when you go to an Asian grocery store if you want to do this at home. So this is going to be the dressing that I pour over my veggies. So the veggies I'm using for my pickle is carrot, Lebanese cucumber, and green onion. So with the carrot, I've already peeled it. I'm just going to take off that top end. And what I'm going to do is cut it into batons. I think sort of equal sizes is the way to go. You can cut them into matchsticks if you like. It's really up to you. But I don't see any problem with just sort of batons like so. For my Lebanese cucumber, I want to take out the seeds. So cut it through the middle, lengthways. And then just using a teaspoon, you can just remove those seeds. And the reason you want to remove the seeds is because, I'll show you, they contain loads of liquid. Just dice that into sort of the same shapes as the carrot, same lengths. So in half, and then just into batons as well. And then finally, just some green onion. To prep your green onion, take off the root end, get rid of that. Take off any outer leaves that are not looking very nice. And then what we want to do is just slice it on the diagonal. I think I'll just wipe my board first. A little bit of moisture there. So just on the diagonal. And in with the rest of my veggies. Now I can just dress those veggies with my pickling liquid. Give that a gentle stir and just put them to the side until serving. So for the chili salt squid, we have to clean our squid. When I clean squid, I always like to put a little bit of paper towel down on my chopping board because he does have an ink sac, and if you break that ink sac, you're going to get ink all over your chopping board. So a little bit of paper towel, and this is my lovely Lolago squid. So what we want to do is remove his tentacles and arms and his eyes and as much internal organ as we can. So what I do is I wrap my fingers around his eyes and I pull down, pulling as much internal organ as I can. So now you can see why I have the paper towel on the chopping board. His ink sac has broken a little bit, as you can see, but that's his ink sac in there. So what I do is, because I'm a right-hander, I'll hold my knife with my right hand and I'll hold his eyes with my left hand, and I'll just cut below his eyes. And by cutting below his eyes, I can remove his eyes and all this internal organ straight to the rubbish, so into the bin. What I need to do now, and hopefully you can see this, is I want to remove his mouth. This is also known as the beak. So to remove that, you just sort of pop it out, pull it out, and get rid of that. You don't want to eat that. You know you've got it if you can just stick your finger through the middle like that. I always like to give these bits a little bit of a wash because sometimes they can be a bit sandy and gritty. So it's absolutely fine to run this part under a tap. I've given his tentacles a little bit of a wash under cold running water. What I'm going to do now is just cut them in half because all this together is just a little bit too big to put in your mouth. So cut it in half. I think your recipe might say quarters, but it really depends on the size of the squid. This one wasn't such a huge one, so I think halves is perfectly fine. If it's a bigger squid, then certainly cut the tentacles into quarters. Now what I want to do is take out his quill, and the quill is the thing that's keeping him upright. If I lay him flat on my chopping board, like so, with his wings against the board, you'll see that there's a point here. Where the tip of that point is the tip of the quill. So what you want to do is just hook your finger around the base of the quill, you might be able to see it there, and concertina the squid and pull. And there, I've got his quill out, all in one go. Sometimes that might be broken. If it is broken, so you might pull it out, like so, and you only get that much, don't go sticking your fingers up there and try and look for it. What you'll do is, once you open him up, you'll actually get the remainder of that quill. Next thing I want to do is actually peel him. So we want to strip him. So to do that, lay him flat on the board. I might just move this bit of paper out of the way so you can see a little better. And with my thumb, my right thumb, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to go in underneath that wing, between the body and the wing. And I'm going to break that skin just with my thumb, like so. And by doing that, I can now twist him and grab both those wings, break the skin at the top, and by pulling down on both those wings, I can remove all his skin in one go. Now don't throw these wings away because you can eat them. So what I'm going to do is just peel them. And I find, again, a little bit of kitchen towel really helps to do this because it can be a little bit slippery. So pulling the wing away from the skin, I'm removing that skin. So there's one wing. And now my second wing. Second one's always a little tougher. In behind that wing. And pulling. And there we go. So that's why you don't throw the wings away. 2 mouthfuls of food. If you've got a little bit of skin still left over like that, your kitchen towel, just give it a rub and you'll be able to remove it. With the wings, what you do want to do is remove the part where it joins the body, because that can be a little bit hard and chewy. So just with your knife, just slice that off. And same with the other one. And now what I want to do is open him up. So where that quill was, there's sort of a bit of a seam. Might be hard for you to see, but you'll see it when you're doing it yourself. Roll him over to the side, again, because I'm a right-hander, I roll it to the right, and just with the tip of my knife, I use that seam as a guideline, and just open him up, like so. And at this point in time, this is where I can remove the rest of those internal organs. So with the back of my knife, I can just scrape. Again, with your kitchen towel, this is where you want to remove that internal membrane. Can you see it there? That's what you want to get rid of. And then we'll cut him into strips. So about 1 centimetre apart, lengthways. If you think the strips are a little bit too long as a mouthful, like maybe those centre ones, just pull those 2 away, and then just cut him in half. So you've got lovely bite-sized pieces. All my squid's prepped up, and I've just patted it dry with some kitchen paper because it's going to go into hot oil, so I don't want the oil to spit if there's any moisture left on the squid. And the rest of my ingredients are ready. I've got my egg whites, which you just need to lightly beat with a fork before you start using them. I have my salt. It's salt flakes and my tapioca starch. So with your salt flakes, you just need to sort of crush them before you put them into the salt. Just with your hands is fine. And then I have my chili powder that goes into my tapioca starch as well. And then just give that a good shake so it's all mixed together. together and all that salt and chili is combined. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is just in batches, I'm going to dip my squid into the egg whites, then into the seasoned flour, and then just onto a plate ready to deep fry. So just in batches, don't put them all in at once. Mix that all around. Drain as you can. And then into the flour and give that a shake. And just onto a plate. And then repeat. So all my squid's now coated, so it's time to fry. A great way to check if your oil has come to temperature is you can get a wooden spoon, not something like this that has a lacquer on it. You just want a plain wooden utensil. And if you put it into the hot oil, what you'll see is that it will start to bubble. By doing that, I know that my oil is hot enough. When it comes time to frying, and I know my oil is hot, don't just tip all of this into your hot oil. What you want to do is do it in batches, shake it off as you go to put it in, and don't throw it. Just sort of gently slide it in, and don't overcrowd your oil. Give them a bit of a stir so they don't all stick together, and this is only going to take 30 to 60 seconds. Be organised, have your draining plate ready, and they're ready to come out. Before you do the next batch, you do have to make sure that your oils come back to temperature. So just give it a minute or so. So lastly, we're just going to stir fry some gai lan. To prep up your gai lan, just take off the leaves, cut the leaves from the stems. You'll be left with bits like this. Just slice off that woody end. And when you've got something like that, just on the diagonal. We're going to cook off the stems first for about 30 seconds, and then we'll add our leaves. You're just going to cook off in a neutral oil. Then with the leaves, so when our gai lan is cooked, we're going to stir through some beautiful Mega Chef oyster sauce. So just a generous drizzle. Give that a toss. And it's ready to serve. So there we have it. SSS at home, chili salt squid, stir-fried gai lan with oyster sauce, our quick pickled veggies, and some steamed rice. Enjoy.